You bring her home from the hospital, and the two of you end up standing in the nursery at midnight, just staring at her like she might disappear if you look away. Something has already shifted between you and your partner, and neither of you can name it yet. You feel closer to this other human being than you have ever felt to anyone in your life, your hands still smelling like hospital soap, the room lit only by a nightlight shaped like a moon. You have no idea that some of the hardest years your relationship will ever face just started without an announcement, dressed up as the happiest night of your lives. Level 1. Week 1. The merge. You are operating as one organism instead of two now. Diapers, feedings, sleep that arrives in pieces instead of a single block. The exhaustion is not subtle, it is structural. Your nervous system was never built for 2-hour sleep cycles, and your patience burns through faster than either of you expects. Researchers studying sleep loss in couples have found that even a single night of significant sleep deprivation raises cortisol and reduces warmth during conflict, and you have not even reached actual conflict yet. Right now you are both just trying to get through the night, taking turns, whispering instructions across a dark room. It feels like teamwork, because for now, it genuinely is. You high-five over a successful diaper change at 3 in the morning. You have never felt more like a unit in your entire relationship, even running on fumes. Level 2. Weeks 2 through 8. The short fuse. The teamwork starts cracking under the math. In one study, researchers kept couples awake for a single night, then had them discuss a recurring point of conflict the next day. The sleep-deprived partners showed sharper stress hormone spikes and less warmth toward each other than well-rested couples having the exact same argument. Now stretch that experiment across 8 straight weeks, except nobody gets to go home afterward. A comment about dishes that would have rolled off you in month 1 of dating now detonates the whole evening, and you both lie in bed afterward not touching, replaying it, neither one willing to be the first to apologize. You are not falling out of love. You are both running on a level of depletion neither of you has experienced as an adult, and depletion makes everyone a harder person to live with, including the version of you that used to be easygoing about almost everything. Level 3. Months 2 through 6. The invisible job. Somewhere in here, a second relationship quietly starts forming, one neither of you signed up for on purpose. Who remembers the pediatrician appointment? Who notices the diaper size needs to go up? Who keeps the nap schedule running in their head without writing it down anywhere? Researchers call this the mental load, and the numbers on who carries it are consistent and stark across study after study, regardless of how progressive either partner believed themselves to be going into it. One large study found mothers handle roughly 70% of this invisible cognitive labor, compared with 30% for fathers, a gap nearly double what shows up in physical household chores. The exhausting part is not doing the tasks. It is being the only one who has to remember they exist, the only one whose brain never fully clocks out, even during a movie, even on vacation. Resentment rarely arrives as a single fight. It arrives as a slow accumulation neither partner notices until it is already heavy, until one ordinary Tuesday it spills out over something as small as a forgotten lunchbox. Level 4. Months 6 through 12. The reckoning. This is where the research gets uncomfortable if you happen to be living it right now. John Gottman's long-running studies on new parents found that about 67% of couples experience a measurable, significant drop in relationship satisfaction within the first 3 years after a baby arrives, and that drop tends to hit hardest in this exact window. It is not a sign something is uniquely wrong with your relationship. It is the single most replicated finding in the entire literature on becoming parents. Small moments of connection, a glance, a comment, a hand reaching for the other one, start getting missed instead of caught, not out of malice, but because both of you are simply too depleted to notice them landing anymore. You start keeping score without meaning to. Who slept worse? Who got the harder day? Neither of you says it out loud, but you are both quietly counting, and the running total starts to feel less like teamwork and more like a ledger neither of you remembers agreeing to keep. Level 5. Year 1 through 2. The slow climb. Something does start loosening here, even if it does not feel that way day to day. Studies tracking new mothers found that by 12 months postpartum, sexual activity had resumed in nearly all couples, even as emotional satisfaction with the relationship had quietly dropped over that same window, from about 67% reporting high satisfaction at 3 months down to roughly 54% at 18 months. The body recovers faster than the relationship does. You start sleeping in longer stretches, 4 hours becoming 5, then 6, and the fog over both of you lifts just enough to notice each other again. The baby becomes a toddler with something resembling a schedule. You have an actual conversation one night that has nothing to do with logistics, no pickup times, no feeding charts, just the two of you talking like people again, and it catches you both off guard, like remembering a language you used to speak fluently. Level 6. Years 2 through 3. The new shape. You are not the same two people who stood in that nursery at midnight. Becoming a parent rewires identity the way almost no other life event does, and both of you have been quietly renegotiating who you are without ever formally sitting down to discuss it, somewhere between work and pickup lines and the version of yourself you used to recognize in the mirror. The partnerships that come out of this stretch intact rarely resemble the relationship that walked into it. They get rebuilt on purpose, piece by piece, instead of waiting around for a version of themselves that quietly stopped existing the night that baby came home. Level 7. Year 4 and beyond. The long view. Here is the part the research is clear about that almost nobody mentions going in. Roughly a third of couples never experience this decline at all, and what separates them is not an easier baby, more money, or more help from family. Gottman's research on these specific couples found one consistent behavior. They kept turning toward each other during stress, instead of absorbing it alone, bringing the hard moments to their partner rather than carrying them in silence, even something as small as a hard day at work or a fight with a friend. That single habit, repeated for years without fail, is the real difference between drifting apart and staying built together, and it costs nothing but the willingness to be seen on a bad day. Level 8. The quiet test. Here is the twist almost nobody warns couples about going in. A long-running study, tracking thousands of new parents for over a decade, found that relationship satisfaction stayed measurably lower even 6 to 13 years after the first child was born, for both partners, with the decline holding steady in women specifically across that entire stretch. The version of going back to normal that most couples are quietly waiting for, the one where the relationship snaps back to exactly how it was before, might not actually be coming, and waiting for it is its own quiet way of staying stuck. The relationship that survives parenthood is not the one that returns to its old baseline. It is the one that gets honest about the new baseline and decides to build a life inside it anyway. Somewhere right now, two exhausted people are standing in a dark nursery at midnight, closer to each other than they have ever been, with no idea what the next few years are actually going to ask of them. They will find out together, one missed moment and one caught moment at a time, one ordinary Tuesday after another. If this gave you a clearer map of what is actually happening inside your own relationship right now, hit subscribe, because the next video breaks down exactly what that lucky third of couples do differently, and how you and your partner can become one of them too.